It's some 301st ticking days to the 2022 polls, and it's a season of political alignments and realignments. Tonight on Pundits Night, we look at the road to 2022. Good evening. I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. As always, remember your voice matters. So does your opinion counts. Talk to us. Send us a message on 22047. The hashtag to use is Pundits Night. Be part of this discussion, and as earlier publicized, let me introduce our guests tonight. Areba Omoyo is an advocate of the High Court, a lawyer. Nathaniel Mongare is the spokesman, ANC party. Joining us from Nyandarua is Wahome Ndegwa, who is the county speaker for Nyandarua. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for your time tonight.
Good evening, Abu. Thank you for having us.
Nathaniel, let me start with you. I'm talking of a season of alignments and realignments, but objectively it seems as though it is a season of same old politicians, same old promises. Is it?
That is not the case. Thank you so much, Abubakar, for having me this evening. First of all, we are seeing a lot of movements in the political space, and this is informed by a lot of factors. There are a lot of underbellies that are going on in the background. And as you will note that in the 2017 general elections, we aired a manifesto as a political party called ANC. And our manifesto was to deliver the people of Kenya to Canaan so that we can all eat milk and honey. But there was a betrayal that was made by the people, the 10 million strong at River Jordan. And this betrayal occasioned what is now called the electoral injustice. So when we launched some of these things that time, we were carrying the aspiration of the ordinary people, the millions of Kenyans, they're carrying their future, their aspirations, what they admire most for this country. But that could not happen. Now, because we did not manage to capture the government, and as you know, the principle of parliamentary democracy is that if you don't form government, you automatically become part of the opposition. So
and fair enough. Fair enough. You are speaking on behalf of ANC, which is your party.
You need to give me a chance.
I will. We are just starting. We still have 2 hours to go. I'm asking, you are speaking on behalf of your party, which is the ANC party, isn't it?
Because you have asked about political realignments. The realignments can only be done through political parties. Independent candidates can't do realignments because our politics is structured along political parties. Now, I'm making the point that ANC party has been a part of the opposition. We have been playing from the opposition benches in the trenches because of the betrayal that was meted on the road to Canaan dream, which was to deliver milk and honey to millions of Kenyans, all Kenyans actually.
Who betrayed who in your view?
You all know, the jury is out there. We know the betrayals. Now, the point
who betrayed who? It's you who is a legend.
The point is, recently, we exited from the NASA coalition because of that betrayal, the mistrust, the dishonesty, and an adulterous partner in the name of ODM. So when we exited this NASA alliance, we are plotting a future for the party. And this future can only be found in a recovered economy, what we now call the Uchumi Bora manifesto.
And we will come to that. Just a question on the betrayal and the allegations you are making. Who has betrayed who?
It's your question. I've already said, Abubakar.
Who has betrayed who?
We know it is ODM that betrayed the struggles of the people.
All right. Let me bring in Areba to the discussion. Yes. Areba, same question perhaps. A season of alignments, realignments, but the promises are all too familiar, aren't they?
I wouldn't say they're all familiar. What I can say we are experiencing right now is a period where people are trying to form some alliances with no basis. People are trying to form alliances which are tribal in nature. People don't have wishes of the people, and that is the reason why people are busy doing seminars. People are busy doing retreats. And they have no objective for the people. And I mean, the jury is out there on who exactly is driving an agenda that is meant for the people, and who exactly is busy engaging in so many issues and abuses and retreats and seminars. For me, my interest is that right now, it's for the people out there to look out on who exactly is that genuine person who is looking at solving the issues that are facing Wananchi. I wouldn't want to speak more about the alliances and the coalitions that we're seeing around, because basically these people have been there all through. These are people we have had making noise, jumping from one coalition to another. They're very, very people. So there's really nothing much for them. I mean, they will continue doing their retreats and their seminars, while other people are having conversations on how they are going to change the livelihoods of the millions of people academia is talking about out there. Academia just fell short of saying that, hey, I support what you guys say in the Hustler Nation about empowering the millions of people who are out there. We welcome academia.
Of course,
because when it comes to your seminars, you continue doing your seminars and your retreats.
Areba, let me ask you
as I
this.
finish, Abubakar, you cannot say that you are jumping from one coalition and going to form another one with the very, very people and the same characters. I mean, it happens. We all know the script.
Fair enough. It was just the beginning question, but nonetheless, let me still ask this. You're talking of some who are meeting in boardrooms. You talk of some who have intentions of changing people's lives. You mind explaining that divide?
Let me explain the divide. I mean, we are seeing the kind of seminar that is happening in Naivasha right now. It's all about sharing power. Recently, we are seeing other people who are meeting to come up with economic models. I mean, the difference is out there. Other people are meeting to discuss about power. Others are meeting to discuss about the people. Others are coming with the tribes and the tribal alignments. Other people are coming with ideas on how to change the economy. Let the seminars continue. And for those who are about economic empowerment, they'll continue back.
Areba, just for purposes of fairness, everyone now is talking of how to make Kenyans' lives better, at least touching on the economy and making a better Kenya. Just to be fair to everyone. Let me bring in Speaker of Nyandarua County to the discussion. Ndegwa Home joins us live from Nyandarua. Speaker, thank you for your time. Perhaps a similar opening question. We are seeing realignments, political alignments ahead of the 2022 polls. Is there anything glaringly different from what we saw in 2017 in as far as the promises are concerned?
Thank you, Abubakar, and the greetings from Nyandarua. I would want to say that I'm happy to be again at TV 47. I'm sorry I could not make it to the studios, but I would say that it would really be very abnormal if what is happening now is not happening. Because we expect that politics is driven by ambition. And politics is mainly driven by a seizure of power. When we talk about everything else, if you don't have power, you will not be able to transform people's lives. If you don't have power, you will not be able to give direction to where you would want this country to go. That socio-economic and political direction, you must get the power to be able to define the path or to prosperity or to wherever you would want to take the people. Therefore, what is happening clearly now, I believe, is what should be happening. Secondly, is that no one, when you go to the to ODM, when you go to OKA, when they are not very sure. They are just trying. It is being adventurous at this time. They are trying to look at the bearing. And I can tell you as of now, in the OKA alliance, is that they expect that, Kalonzo expects that he will be the candidate. Because if he is not the candidate for OKA, definitely he knows that Eastern is lost forever for him. Musalia Mudavadi knows that if he is not the candidate, then he knows that Western will be lost from him forever. No one in Western province will allow Mudavadi to play second fiddle. Gideon thinks that he can be the consensus candidate for OKA, and he is waiting in the wings, ready to pounce. For ODM believes that the Kalonzo and the Mudavadi will eat apple pie. And they will go looking for him, for the resources, for network, and the infrastructure that he has, so that he is able to be seen as the candidate for the opposition. I think the guy who is settled for now is the deputy president. He is very clear, and I think there is no contention. Even those in the Mount Kenya who are saying that they want Mount Kenya to speak in one voice. They already, those who are in with William Ruto, they have not said that they are moving away from him. What they are saying is that they are not going to resolve their parties, and they discuss with him from their own houses, which is their parties. Therefore,
all right, Ndegwa, let me interject you at that point and ask you this. You are from that region, in reference to central Kenya. You are a politician yourself. Observing the politics of central Kenya, is it already a determined case of who central will support?
I would say that that is not a concluded debate, but obviously there are voices that are speaking from politicians, and also there are voices coming from Wanjiku, and I would say that Mount Kenya will be the determinant. Mainly is where the person who gets Mount Kenya definitely has a head start. And therefore that is where all the eyes and focus is in Mount Kenya.
Fair enough.
But as of now, I would say that Mount Kenya, for now, is that the deputy president is the only clear candidate that they can look at for the opposition leader, that is Raila Odinga, is now coming to Mount Kenya. But still, he has not declared that he's going to be a candidate. For OKA, they don't have a candidate. So at least for the Mount Kenya, for the time being, they are left without many choices to decide which direction they would want to move.
Fair enough. Ndegwa, point made. Let me bring in Nathaniel to the discussion. Nathaniel, for your party, assuming at the bare minimum that Musalia Mudavadi is its flag bearer come 2022?
First of all, it is already known that Musalia Mudavadi is the presidential candidate of our party. The party constitution, as amended 2020, puts it very clear that the party leader is the automatic flag bearer for the presidential position. And the party organs, the Amani Council, which is the highest political organ of the party, has already declared Musalia Mudavadi as the presidential candidate. So there is no contention. And we have sent him out there that go look for new partners and new friends. And that's why you saw the party took a decision to exit NASA because of the things that I've stated earlier. Now, in the process of searching for new partners who can identify with the Uchumi Bora manifesto, because we don't want just to be in a coalition to seize power. As the Speaker, Wahome, is saying, it is true. Politics is to capture power so that you're able to serve the people. So this power that we want to capture is to be able to serve the people. So we have told His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi that the bare minimum is that you must come back home. When you are with the popes and the bishops in that house, there must be a white smoke that must come out, and that white smoke must be Musalia Mudavadi. That is the bare minimum. Because the party organs are going to sanction the coalitions and mergers, possibly if the party is going to get to that stage, that the party leader is going to negotiate on our behalf. So as the vision bearer, he knows the wishes of the party. Now,
all right. And you say your party left NASA because of betrayal, but it's getting to a new coalition and alliance with members who 3/4 are from NASA.
Now let me explain. We know who caused the mistrust in NASA. We know who was the adulterers, the polygamous partner in NASA. It was ODM. So I don't want to discuss the politics of betrayal within ODM. Allow me to say.
No, I'm asking, your party left NASA to get to OKA, which still has members who are within NASA.
But remember the rest of the NASA partners like Wiper, Ford Kenya, we're also complaining of the same issues that we were facing with the polygamous partner, adulterous partner in ODM. Now, in this new concept that we call One Kenya Alliance, we have certain policy platforms that we want to advance for this country. One of them is the unity of this country. Number two is the accelerated economic development for this country. As you know, we are in a pandemic, and we want to recover the economy. Abubakar, let me mention something to you. Today in this country, the auctioneers who are auctioning the people down there are also being auctioned. An auctioneer will come and get a Reba's car and then take it to the warehouse. But I'm just giving an hypothetical example. And then the auctioneers are unable to make a sale. They are even unable to pay rent. So the auctioneers themselves are being auctioned. That is the situation of the economy of this country. Disposable household income is shrinking. If you look at the bread and butter issues that are affecting this country, are so much to even discuss about who gets what position, who gets what.
All right.
The only thing we want to discuss as a party is that Musalia Mudavadi, who is the vision bearer, who has the experience, whom if given the job today, is not going to learn on the job. He is going to do the job because he has that accumulated experience in and out of government. So the bare minimum that we have asked our party leader, that as you discussed in this concept called One Kenya Alliance, the white smoke must come out to be Musalia Mudavadi. And we are discussing as equal partners.
All right.
And you know the principle of all of us are equal partners in that concept.
All right.
Of One Kenya Alliance. We are yet to concretize. The meeting at Naivasha is to concretize what will be the policy platform of One Kenya Alliance and what will be the minimums in terms of advocating for the issues of the common man.
All right, Areba, let's talk of the unity within One Kenya. Observably, as parties point fingers at one another for causing the death of NASA, which was the National Super Alliance, it seems as though it is not so one in One Kenya Alliance.
The challenge these gentlemen are facing is that there is nothing that brings them together apart from power. And sometimes I feel for a very young man who is my friend, like Nathaniel, because he has a very good vision for this country, but he's in the wrong vehicle. And if you look at the grouping of that cahoot, those are gentlemen who are just there to discuss on how to get power. If you today ambush them and ask them what exactly are you doing in Naivasha, some of them might not even, they'll be saying we are trying to understand who takes what position, who takes what position. So these gentlemen, as they are in Naivasha, what brings them together is that unity of trying to get power, not the unity of driving an agenda for this country.
That's unfair, isn't it?
I'm being very fair.
That is unfair.
Listen, Abubakar,
let me give you examples.
The reason why I'm saying that...
I will allow you to go on.
Okay.
ANC has talked of making the economy better. Raila Odinga is week after week talking of how he will make the country better. At least they have an agenda. And it's a lie to come on the show and say there's no agenda.
Listen, Abubakar, the reason why I'm saying why, first of all, NASA broke down is because they did not have an agenda they are driving. One partner got into government and left the others in the cold. One went into handshake, the others were just there in the cold. And there is no agenda that was being driven from NASA, whether in opposition as they were, or partly in government as they are now for the people. All they were championing from the word go is handshake, BBI, which was aimed as trying to distribute power between all those people who are seated right now in Naivasha. I can say without fear of contradiction that, Abubakar, there is nothing that brings NASA and One Kenya as it is right now. OKA is just a NASA with new colors. And there's a very good question you asked Rakadima here, that you are coming from one marriage, and you are getting into another marriage with the same characters. And unfortunately, until that moment when they will have a clear agenda on what they want to do for the Kenyans, all these seminars will continue, all these retreats will continue. And that is why, Abubakar, you will see the pressure that will come from Naivasha. You can take it to the bank and get a loan. They will all be speaking about how they are coming together and nothing substantive about the Kenyan Sabu. All
right, Ndegwa Home, Speaker, let me bring you to the discussion. We are talking of leaders from regions, leaders from political parties coming together for the formation of 2022 alliances. One will ask the question, perhaps, where is Central Kenya and who is negotiating with Central Kenya?
I think Central Kenya is the center of interest for everyone. I've seen Musalia Mudavadi actually was recently in Nyandarua. Then Kalonzo Musyoka was recently in Nyeri. Raila Odinga was in Murang'a. The deputy president has been in Mount Kenya. And therefore, I think that all of them, and as I've said, is the center of attraction for all the serious presidential candidates. But as it has been said, I think that Mount Kenya people, ours is economy. Economy is everything. It is at the center, is the fulcrum around which we move. And when you bring proper and sellable and believable economic policies, you expect that you can run away with the Mount Kenya region. There is a lot of a very huge youth unemployment in the Mount Kenya region. And when the deputy president comes up with a bottom-up approach on this, actually he is speaking to the youth of Mount Kenya region. And I think for the other candidates, that is for the ODM and the OKA, if they don't come up with serious policies that speak to our youth and to the people of Mount Kenya, and they concentrate on attacking what the deputy president is coming up with, I think they are lost. I think they should just retreat and come up with something, a blueprint that they can sell to Mount Kenya. Otherwise, the deputy president is setting the agenda for them. They are just being reactive. We would want them coming out clearly and telling us if we give them this country. to which direction are they going to drive this country? Because for now, actually, they are just groping in the darkness. And at the end of the day, I can foresee OKA eating apple pie. And again, going back to BAMBA. Already they have started showing softening towards the ODM leader. And I will not be surprised if even tomorrow they invite him to Naivasha. And then they are speaking different language, despite the hard stance.
All right.
That had already been taken by Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo Musyoka against the ODM leader.
Fair enough. Areba?
As I come in, there's something Speaker has said which is very critical. That these are gentlemen who supported Raila Amolo Odinga in 2013 and in 2017. Then now they claimed they have exited the NASA coalition for a different coalition. The same gentlemen were called to Mombasa and they were put in and told, hey, you guys go and deliberate, but at the end of the day, we need a presidential candidate from amongst you, but that presidential candidate is none other than Raila Amolo Odinga. So that is why Speaker is saying that these gentlemen are just...
That is not on the record.
Can I just finish?
That is not on the record.
Can I just finish?
That is not on the record, as you finish.
When we saw what came out from their meeting in Mombasa, it was clear that there was some kind of guided democracy, that you need to choose a presidential candidate, and the only presidential candidate that you can choose from among the pack is one Raila Amolo Odinga. So ANC, Wiper, and all this is just a black cat chasing for a black cat chasing for a black mouse in the dark.
All right, and we have talked of alignments, realignments.
You need to give me a light of reply.
I will. I understand we need to take a short break. From alignments and realignments, we will talk of the politics of the economy, or the economy of politics. We will separate what are the ideals and what are wishful thinking. Stay with us.
Who took a bold step to build their empire every Monday, 7:30 p.m.
The property industry in Kenya is growing in leaps and bounds. From bungalows, mansionettes, high-end apartments, all the way to mixed-use developments such as malls and mall residency. Well, how do you all break it down? Right here on TV 47, we bring you The Realtor with me, Karanja Daniel, where we analyze the property industry right here in Kenya and bring you the latest from all the professionals that are involved, from architects,
Welcome back to Pundits Night. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, you can be part of this discussion. Send us a message on 22047. I will sample some of your views towards the end of the show. Let's get back to our discussion. Nathaniel, you wanted me to give you a chance so that you respond to Areba. Go ahead.
Exactly. You know, the dishonesty with the advocate Areba is that a week ago, him and the DP were in Naivasha for a similar retreat. If you follow him and you follow the DP, they even issued a presser due to Nyanza Economic Forum in a retreat in Naivasha. A week, exactly 7 days apart. Now, this is the height of dishonesty when you hear Areba talking about a retreat. There is nothing wrong, absolutely wrong, with leaders meeting together to put the diversity of their thoughts together. And this is the agenda that you see coming out from the Naivasha meeting. This is a meeting of leaders that is going to bring, to consolidate and concretize the concept that is called One Kenya Alliance. What will be the policy platform? How do we intend to communicate this policy platform? Already as ANC, we have already communicated what our agenda is. We are standing for uchumi bora, pesa mfukoni, and we have articulated this. Now, I wanted to respond to the speaker of Nyandarua Home, that Central Kenya indeed is a very huge vote basket. And as ANC party, and as he rightly noted, Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi has visited that region for the last 1 month. We have made a lot of forays, and there is a lot of support that we are getting from the ground. You can hear people saying, now we have seen Masharia. In fact, the locals are calling Musalia Mudavadi Masharia. Somebody wa Sharia, meaning the person who is searching for something, and searching something good for the country. They are also likening Musalia Mudavadi in Central Kenya like a mini Kibaki. They are saying that when we see Musalia Mudavadi, we see a mini Kibaki, a man in action, somebody who believes in accelerating the economic development of this country. So it is no doubt that everybody is agreeing that the only central candidate in this country who can grow the economy and put money in the pockets of the people is Musalia Mudavadi. And you've had
Nathaniel, it depends
now,
on which side of the
Abubakar,
political. It
yes,
depends on which side of the political.
There's that consensus. At least Musalia Mudavadi is the man who can revive the economy.
You are forcing a consensus. I'm telling you that is relative.
Something else, Abubakar. Let me just tell you this. If there is any plan to endorse the former Prime Minister or the former Prime Minister going to Central Kenya, there is going to be a lot of backlash from the Central Kenya voters. The only man who can beat William Ruto in the 2022 polls is Musalia Mudavadi, because he unites everyone. And there's nothing wrong with building coalitions, and these coalitions are going to be based on an idea on reviving the economy of this country. So the Raila factor, the Raila phobia in Central Kenya is real. And
you come from Central, surely.
But Speaker confirm, and even viewers can text in, that even young people are being asked, there's that phobia that Raila is going to cause chaos and division.
Nathaniel, I think it will be unfair for us to, on this show, say that someone is hated in parts of the country. That I think is not
But this is the true feeling of the people on the
that's
ground.
That's according to you. No one has done it.
We have seen these sentiments being expressed by the people.
All right, Nathaniel, fair enough.
The only candidate who can beat William Ruto in the 2022 polls is none other than Musalia Mudavadi.
Nathaniel was mentioned with
Areba, I'll give you a chance so that we have a show that is of importance to the thousands and millions of Kenyans who are watching. It is unfair, Nathaniel, to say that someone is hated politically from a section of this country.
But there's nothing wrong. Allow me to defend the
for you to say there is phobia of someone in this country.
It's wrong.
It's unfair.
It's wrong. And this is a guy who's vying for MPU in Kisii, in Nyamira, in North Mogirango.
Allow me to.
What if people say that you are hated in one ward or another?
Allow me to.
Let us allow everybody to go and campaign in whichever part of the country.
All right.
Let them sell their agenda. Nathaniel is coming from a background of fear-mongering. Because the issues I say they don't have an agenda.
Okay, let's move from alignments and realignments. Let's talk of.
You mentioned my name with Naivasha.
No, let's talk of the politics of economy and the economics of politics. Evidently, from your response, Areba, you are in favor of the deputy president.
Yes.
And I suppose you are in favor of his ideals, which partly include the hustler narrative and the economy. But this is a deputy president who next year will be in power 10 years as the deputy president elected with the president of the Republic of Kenya in one ticket. Yet he is still promising Kenyans of a better Kenya 10 years after serving as the second in command.
So to start with, Nathaniel did mention that I was in Naivasha, and I do confirm that I was in Naivasha. And the reason why I was in Naivasha is because we were meeting with the deputy president as grassroots leaders from Kisii and Nyamira and other counties from the Nyanza region. And the reason why we were meeting is we were going to present our blueprint in terms of what we would want him to do once he ascends to the office or as a president come next year. The difference between what we did and what other people are doing in Naivasha is that we were there to discuss about the economy, and at the end of the day, we did come out with action points. For them, their retreat, tech team, Mandazi, and come up with a presser. Now coming back to the issue of this is the deputy president who's promising us something. The first bit is that this is the deputy president who's telling us that the economic model that we're using right now is not working.
Yet he is the deputy president.
Who else is at a better position to tell us other than the deputy president?
Yet he is in office. He can change if it's not working.
You know very well of a saying that says, if a crocodile comes out of the river and tells you fish is sick, who are you to doubt? This is second in command who is telling you that the economic model we are using in this country is not working. Who are you to doubt, Abubakar? Who are you? We all ought to listen and say, hey, this is a man who has been in power all these years. What is this that is saying that is not working for this country? And I feel that we need to give him a listening ear. The deputy president is a conductor in this Jubilee bus. The driver has decided to drive us to the river. And here is the conductor who is saying, I am ready to take over the driver's seat and drive us out of this river. Why can't we give him a chance?
Areba, you are
this
saying,
is a driver and a conductor.
Point made,
A driver
Areba.
does not drive the bus. The
Point
conductor
made,
does not drive the bus.
Point
the driver
made.
drives.
Point made, Areba. You are saying the deputy president at least should be given an ear so that he tells us it's wrong.
Yes,
He is
yes.
in office. He is the second in command.
And
why not change? Why tell us, then change?
And that is why I'm telling you, there is no any other better placed person to tell you that things are wrong apart from the deputy president.
All right.
And I have clearly stated that this is a position where he finds himself as a conductor of a bus. Him is just collecting fare and knocking it and saying 20, 20, 20. And the driver decided to drive it to the river.
All right, let me bring in
here
speaker.
Is the conductor who's saying now, I have gone back to driving school and I have a driver's license. Give me an opportunity to drive this bus to where it's supposed to go. That is the position.
It will be fair to say 10 years was long to get a driver's license. Nonetheless, let me bring Speaker to the discussion. Speaker, you talked earlier on of the economy of central Kenya, the economy of the country at large. Given that we are seeing politicians politicking on the economy, should it be treated as politics as they do it? Or should Kenyans really give them an ear to try and listen to them, as Areba says?
I think, Baka, the issue of the politics of economy, or economy of the politics, is the politicians are buying it from the people. Mm-hmm. It is very clear that the politicians are just picking this from the concerns expressed by the people on the ground. Mm-hmm. And now they are taking it up and shaping it into something akin to a policy that can be laid down and some infrastructure created to ensure that it can be rolled out. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, everybody in this country knows that the 70% of us are facing hard times. And in the 2022 elections, I think economics will play a very big part in our politics. Uh-huh. If you don't talk about politics of economics and you are a serious presidential contender, you bet for something else to do. The people of this country want to know, especially Mount Kenya, they want to know how their rice will be upgraded from where they are harvesting it so that they can be able to get better income from the rice, mm-hmm. from the maize, from the milk, from the tea, from the coffee. And if you don't give them a plausible route to getting better income for their labor, for their sweat, and how they are going to get that money into their pockets, then obviously they are not going to hear you. And if you want the votes of Mount Kenya region, uh-huh. Like the Pope said, you must smell like the people that you want to read. That if you are a good shepherd, you must smell like the goats or the sheep so that they can be able to follow you. Mm-hmm. So in Mount Kenya region today, if you are not smelling coffee, if you are not smelling tea, if you are not smelling small business, micro business, mm-hmm. then clearly you are wasting your time in Mount Kenya. Therefore, the debate of economics is being shaped by the common mwananchi. Uh-huh. And the politicians will take it up as raw material and put it into something concrete, implementable, and plausible, and reasonable. Then that is the person who will carry the day.
All right. Nathaniel?
I can jump in straight and I say, Speaker Wahome is describing Uchumi Bora manifesto mm-hmm. of our party. When I hear him speak, I hear him describing the Uchumi Bora agenda. Now, if you look at what is contained in the Uchumi Bora manifesto that we just launched on Thursday, we are saying that the Kisii farmer who is doing tea farming is getting 9 shillings and even sometimes 15 shillings a kilo mm-hmm. on the bonuses, the tea bonuses. And there's another farmer who is getting 30 shillings a kilo in another part of the country, like, for example, Central Kenya. So we are saying, what reforms can we do in the tea sector to harmonize the tea bonuses so that there is equality in the payment of the tea bonuses? We are saying, how can we increase the number of taxpayers? Currently, we have an average of about 4 million taxpayers. So how can we expand the number of taxpayers so that we have more people who are contributing to the revenue basket of this country? That is the Uchumi Bora manifesto that the Speaker is describing. We are saying, how can we revive the dyeing sector in the sugar cane belt, in the sugar belt of the western region? Mm-hmm. How can we revive the Mumias sugar? How can we revive Sony? How can we revive Chemili? How can we make sure that pan paper is working again? how can we revive the sectors that millions of Kenyans were depending on, especially the sugarcane farmer. There were about 8 million people who were depending on the sugarcane farming. And right now it has been crippled. So the Uchumi Bora Manifesto speaks into the issue of reviving these industries. And especially you can see the people of Bungoma who are watching this night. They will want to ask, what does the Uchumi Bora Manifesto of ANC has for them? We want to revive the Malakisi cotton ginnery so that it can be able to go back to the cotton farming that it was once gainful and was creating employment for many people. The people of Trans Nzoia are asking, how can we subsidize the maize farmers in the farm inputs, the fertilizer, so that we don't have fake fertilizers on the market? We don't have fake seeds. This is what we are promising the farmer, so that we can be able to make sure that the farmer gets profit. That is the Uchumi Bora Manifesto. But
Nathaniel, you're talking of Uchumi Bora. Let me ask you this. You've made your point. Let me ask you this. You're talking of Uchumi Bora and how to make the economy better. There are those who, in response and in critique of that, say it was first the Deputy President who talked of a hustler economy, a bottom-up approach, hence your party picked it up. How do you respond to that?
That is not true. ANC party has been very consistent from 2017. The Uchumi Bora Manifesto was not just there. In 2017, it was called the Road to Canaan Manifesto, a dignified life for everyone. Right now, we repackaged it. When we used to have the former Secretary General who was snatched by Kina Areba, we used to have this manifesto all along. We have not changed our tact. Let me give you a simple example. Even though we are not in government, ANC party has sponsored a bill by Honorable Sakwa Bunyasi, the MP for Nambale, that is known as the Public Debt Management Authority Bill. This bill is meant to tame the government's appetite of a borrowing. What we loosely say in Kiswahili, kutembea dunia mzima na bakuli ya kuomba. Because when we have more debt, it means that we are over budgeting. If in a household you are getting about 500 shillings as income per day, and you are budgeting about 1,000 shillings, then it means you have a deficit of 500 shillings every day. This is what is happening in this country. We are not spending within our means. We are not living within our means. So Uchumi Bora Manifesto is speaking into the issue of rationalizing public expenditures, so that if we are collecting 1.5 trillion as revenue from ordinary taxes, then we budget within our means.
All right.
We reduce the public borrowing because it is putting a strain on the public expenditure programs, especially development program. That's why my people in North Mugirango are asking me, when will they construct a road from Tombe Stage all the way to Kiabanyur in North Mugirango? These are the questions the people on the ground are asking.
Fair enough. And you have exhausted on the Uchumi Bora. Areba, we're talking of Uchumi Bora. Raila Odinga talks of investment in rural Kenya. Deputy President talks of a bottom-up approach and a hustler nation. Your understanding of a hustler nation, Areba?
I think, first of all, let me start from where Speaker left. Speaker is very categorical that first we are going to have an election where people are going to decide on it based on the manifesto and the issue of the economy. And that is why most of these regions are having conversations in terms of what do our economy entail. Right now, people are no longer interested on who wants to take which seat and who wants to take which seat. The economy is in a very bad shape. Very many livelihoods have been denied their daily bread because of the ravages of COVID. And right now, people are no longer interested on who's taking which position. People want to hear on what are we going to do, number one, to reduce the cost of living. People in matatu industry want to hear what are we going to do to reduce the cost of fuel. People in manufacturing want to hear what are we going to do to reduce the cost of production in this country. And that is why we're coming in and saying, hey, for the longest time, we have only been interested in an economy that only takes care of the very few people who are at the top. Why don't we now reverse this and start with empowering the people at the bottom and doing things at the end of the day? When you empower the people at the bottom, it is going to be a spiral. Once you empower the person at the bottom, it's going to in turn empower the next person on the same level. And at the end of the day, the whole pyramid is going to be empowered. You will ask me, what do you mean? This is what I mean, Abu. A farmer in Keumbu sells an avocado at 3 shillings. The avocado gets to Nairobi and I buy the same avocado at Marikiti at 40 shillings. Here is a farmer who sold the avocado, and in fact, let me say, more like a Lilinda avocado since it was born. But here is somebody who I can describe as a cartel, who's at the top of the pyramid, and they're the ones who are gaining from the labor of the people at the bottom. A gunia of waru, Speaker will tell you, it is being bought from somewhere in Nyandarua at 400 shillings. When it gets to Marikiti, it's being sold at 3,000. But the person who benefits, it's not the farmer. The person who benefits is a cartel who controls the prices just by mere use of a phone. And that is what
a cartel who you believe through a bottom-up approach they will be done with?
This is what I mean, Abubakar.
No, I'm asking, a cartel you believe through the bottom-up approach will be eradicated?
Once we bring in proper policies and once we engineer the way our economic model is, we are going to get rid of those cartels. And at the end of the day, the farmer who sells that, the Mira farmer in Mbere, the fish farmer in Turkana, you'll be shocked that from Lake Turkana, fish is sold at 5 shillings. And just this evening, I bought a fish at 500 shillings. Where is the value to that farmer?
All right.
And that is why we are having a discussion that how can we bring value to the people who toil the more? It's unfortunate that we live in a country that the people who work most earn the least.
All right, Speaker, let me ask you this question, and I specifically tailor it this way because you're also the chair of the County Assemblies Forum. When people talk of investing in the base so that everyone in the pyramid gets an equal opportunity, one would argue that is what Kenya's 2010 constitution was supposed to do, at least on paper. Did it do it?
Actually, that has been our main concern, Abu Bakr, because the vision of the crafters of the 2010 constitution has been lost in the process. If you look at the constitution, and which was expounded by the County Government Act, is that we were to go to the smallest unit, even smaller than the village, so that governance would be part and parcel of the people's lives. This has not happened, and we remain centralized in terms of control of resources in this country. You hear that health is devolved, but then find that 70% of the budget for the Ministry of Health is left in Nairobi. Agriculture is devolved, over 60% of the resources allocated to that department, to that ministry, are left in Nairobi. And therefore, the decentralization of governance cannot be complete without resources following that decentralization of governance. So in essence is that there are some people who do not let go the centralized mode of governance, which has failed us since independence. And therefore, with the good governance and the policies, as Aremba has said, that resources for governance to the grassroots to mashinani, people of this country will feel that they are part of the governance. They will feel that the resources are within their control, and they can touch and feel them, and we shall be having a better country for all of us and for the future.
Speaker, you say people shall will, which is a futuristic language. 10 years of investment of billions of shillings to the counties. Is there evidence to show?
It is very unfortunate, Abu Bakr, that I have to say this, is because because of political alignments, a lot of monies have been lost in this country. If a governor wants to steal from the people of Kenya dry, he just requires to be politically correct. And then you'll have a free heart to do whatever he or she wishes. And therefore, that time that the war against corruption is dealt with politically and ethically and morally, that is when Wajiko will realize the fruits of devolution. As of now, as a governor, I have to shout very loudly where I am aligned, and if that is the side that is politically correct, then I can steal everything from Wajiko, and then Wajiko can suffer to hell. That is a tragedy. We have seen it happening, and it's very unfair to Wajiko, and it is very unfair to the Constitution of 2010. It is unfair to devolution.
All right, Nathaniel?
First of all, I just want to say, I want to agree with what the speakers just mentioned regarding the unbundling and unpackaging of the devolved functions. This is the core of also what we want to do, because we know the fourth schedule of the Constitution is very clear on the distribution of functions between the national government and the county governments. But the national government has been very unwilling in not only devolving and unpackaging and unbundling some of the functions that were devolved in the Constitution, but they have also been very reluctant in devolving the necessary resources to perform those functions. So this is part of the core agenda of my party, and we want to make sure that we devolve adequate resources to perform the functions. One of them is the road classification. There is a long-standing dispute between the county governments and the national government on what constitute to be the county roads and the national government roads. So we want to make sure that we unbundle what is this animal called county roads and national government roads, so that we are able to appropriate sufficient resources to do those roads in Mashinani. And then something that is very peculiar from the two gentlemen is that they are defending a deputy president who has been part of the Jubilee administration, somebody who has presided over the massive plunder of the economy that has ever been witnessed in this country.
Again alleging.
Now, I'm giving. Allow me, Abubakar, to substantiate before you cut me short. We've seen the reports from the Auditor General, and these are public reports on the massive plunder of this administration. And I'm not saying this for the Deputy President alone. I'm talking about the Jubilee administration, which the Deputy President is part of, because he has been a fierce defender of this administration. In fact, at one time, he used to tell us that we don't have a plan. He promised the stadiums. He promised the laptops. Somebody who was in class 1 does not even have a laptop now. So the same person who used to make ambitious promises to the Kenyan people, including class 1 children, is coming to make up new promises of bottom up. In ANC, we don't want to focus on bottom up alone. We want to make sure that...
But you want to focus on bottom up,
allow me,
but
Areba,
not alone.
Allow me to finish, Areba. The Uchumi Bora Manifesto focuses on all Kenyans.
Fair enough, and I think you have exhaustively mentioned what the Uchumi Bora is about.
Exactly,
Areba, as we move, because of interest of time, I want us to talk of the appeal of the Building Bridges initiative, which is supposed to be a case determined by the Court of Appeal after it was nullified, for the lack of a better word, by a 5 High Court judge bench, which kind of, some say, opened the political rush we are seeing, because it nullified an idea, as some say, that was supposed to have a united Kenya. You view it that way?
Well, Abubakar, this is a very awkward situation to be in to comment on the issue of BBI, considering it's before court. But what I would want to say is that whichever way it goes on Friday, let us look at it as a win for the rule of law. And how I wish that whichever side that feels the decision does not work for them, there is already an appeal mechanism to the Supreme Court. I'll be very sad. I'll be a very sad Kenyan. I'll be a very sad advocate to see the kind of abuses we saw when the High Court put a stop to the BBI and to the reggae. So for me, from where I sit and from where we sit from, is that whichever decision that is made by the Court of Appeal, it will be in the interest of justice. It will be in the interest in the rule of law. So we will be looking at the judgment, whichever way it goes. And at the end of the day, that is how we have fashioned our way of doing things as a country. In that a decision is made at the High Court, it goes to the Court of Appeal, and in some other instances, it goes to the Supreme Court. So I wouldn't want to discuss, but at the end of the day, let us respect the decision made by courts. Let us not make it personal. Let us not attack judicial officers. Let us not have budget cuts. Let us be respecter of independent institutions.
Speaker, perhaps one last question to you as well. This is a project that President Uhuru Kenyatta has publicly defended, saying it's part of his legacy project. Surely this is a ruling he will equally wait for.
Yes, surely I think everybody's fingers are crossed, waiting to see what the Court of Appeal will do. The Court of Appeal has not attracted a lot of respect in the past. And from the lawyers who are doing their submissions before the Court of Appeal, they were reminding the Court of Appeal that now it has a chance to redeem itself. It was mentioned severally by senior lawyers and young lawyers who did splendid job before the Court of Appeal that it is the same court that has severally intervened for the government at night to issue some orders which have been questioned on their legitimacy and their veracity. For me, is that I am expecting that very serious jurisprudence will be built out of the judgment that will be issued or rendered by the Court of Appeal on Friday. And most importantly, that as Kenyans, we should come to respect the rule of law, that whatever the Court of Appeal will do, they will be discharging their constitutional mandate. All of us must respect that. Abu Bakr, I have been a victim of where the rule of law and constitutional order is not respected at all. Today, I'm the Speaker of Nyandarua County Assembly, and I cannot get into that assembly because police and everybody is there with the tear gas and the batons and everything, despite very, very clear court orders. The county commissioner has been found guilty of contempt. The county police commander is guilty of contempt. They are waiting for sentencing. The county's administration police commander, my deputy speaker, my majority leader, an imposter clerk put in the assembly by the governor. There are clear orders: who is the speaker, who is the clerk, who is the board. Nobody can respect it. And the legitimate authority of Nyandarua County Assembly is kept out of that assembly. As if Kenya is a banana country. I'm hoping that by the ruling of Friday, that this country belongs to all of us. That all of us are creatures of the law and the creatures of the Constitution. That whatever is rendered by constitutional agencies, like the courts, is respected by all and sundry in this country. This country, we are not building it for us today. It is for tomorrow and for posterity.
Fair enough. Nathaniel, your closing remarks as well.
First of all, I've heard the sentiments of fellow panelists here on this issue of BBI. We have been very categorical on the issue of BBI, as much as initially we were not supportive of the idea. After consultations from our membership and from Kenyans, we said that let's throw in our support, and we made a submission before the BBI steering committee. Now, later on, when the High Court gave its ruling, we issued a public statement as a party, and we said that because of the timelines that are before us, we needed to consider an alternative route, that some of the very key proposals that were in the BBI that cannot be amended within the Constitutional Amendment Bill can be taken through Parliament in a bipartisan manner. And we proposed the IPPG model of 1997, where political parties come together, we amend what is good for the country, including, for example, the 5% for the ward funds, increasing allocation to the county governments from the current minimum of 15% to 35%, so that those amendments that can be done within Parliament without necessarily going to a referendum are done. And then when we do the election next year, we're able to have sufficient time to propose some of these.
Fair enough, Nathaniel.
So we are proposing for a minimum reforms because of timelines. And after the next general election, the ANC government will embark on an ambitious program of amending.
And you're so confident that the next government is ANC.
These are my final remarks.
All right, Areba, 30 seconds.
One, this is a country where we all belong. Judicial independence is drawn from the people, and it's only to be exercised as per the Constitution. As Speaker said very clearly, a country that does not respect the rule of law is a country that is going to anarchy. Number two, for once all political players are having a discussion about the economy of this country. Let everybody bring on the table what is the economic model. We cannot be comfortable discussing about governance models and power sharing models, but we don't want to have a discussion about economic models.
All right.
Let us give to the people value. Let us stop politicking. Let us stop all this kind of braggadocio that we have before the people. The people deserve better.
All right, Areba Omoyo is an advocate of the High Court. Nathaniel Mongare is a spokesman, ANC party. Ndegwa Wahome is the Speaker, Nyandarua County. That's where we will have to end tonight's edition of Pundits Night. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.